Hey everybody. So, the further back in time you go, the harder it is to find good records. Although in our modern age, the act of creating something like a book is trivial, in ancient times, the skill and cost involved in such an act made literature and records a valuable rarity. Particularly in Europe throughout the Middle Ages, physical records and stories, along with the art of creating them, were kept almost entirely by religious orders and educated scribes. Add to this the simple weathering that texts undergo as time passes, and records of centuries gone by become even scarcer. Books, manuscripts, tablets, and other such objects dating back more than a few hundred years are highly sought after, as historians seek to understand how our ancestors lived. However, that's not to say that all of these ancient texts contain meaning that's easily understood. One particular text, dating back to the time of the Renaissance, has baffled investigators for centuries and remains an enigma to this day. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Voynich Manuscript, the most mysterious book ever written. So, what exactly is it? Well, the Voynich Manuscript, infrequently known as Voynich MS 408, is a mysterious codex written in an unknown language. The book contains around 240 pages and has been dated to the early 1400s. While the book is currently wrapped in a goatskin cover, it has been deduced that this is a later edition and a wooden cover was likely in place previously. The contents of the book are intriguing. Each page contains intricate but confusing drawings and diagrams accompanied by long strings in an as-of-yet untranslated language. The drawings, which are believed to have been traced then colored at a later date, encompass a variety of topics somewhat typical to the era the book was written in. Herbal drawings detailing plants, many of which have not been identified, astronomical drawings displaying constellations, strange lists and diagrams believed to be pharmaceutical recipes, elaborate depictions of plumbing systems, islands, structures, and more, all familiar in regards to late Middle Ages European literature, but at the same time unfamiliar thanks to the book's confusing and nigh unexplainable contents. What makes this book so confusing? Well, as stated before, the entirety of the book is written in a completely unknown language. Despite having been studied for over a century and despite over 200 pages of writing being available, virtually nothing has been deciphered and the book remains as mysterious as it was 500 years ago. The drawings are similarly unintelligible, detailing non-existent plants and stars alongside other confusing depictions. So where did this book come from? The answer to this is somewhat known. The book is believed to have been created somewhere in Europe in the early 1400s. For over a century, the movements and owners of the book are unknown. However, in the late 1500s, the book is believed to have been in the possession of Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II. This is speculative and has not been confirmed, but it is supported by a testimony from a later owner and a now invisible signature on the book's first page belonging to Jacobus de Tepanex, Rudolf's head of botanical gardens. While unconfirmed, it's thought that Rudolf may have owned the book for a while before it was transferred to Jacobus upon his death. In the mid-1600s, the book passed to alchemist George Baresch, the earliest confirmed owner. Baresch attempted to decipher the book, but to no avail, and it was passed on to Baresch's friend Jan Marcy upon his death. Seeking expert guidance, Marcy sent the book to Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher at the Collegio Romano in the hopes Kircher could interpret its mysteries. Kircher was unsuccessful, and for close to 2 centuries the book remained at the Collegio Romano. In 1870, during Victor Emmanuel II's annexation of the Papal States, the book was transferred to the private library of Jesuit order head Petrus Bex and brought to a villa near Rome. In 1903, during a large sale of assets by the Society of Jesus, 30 manuscripts were acquired by a man named Wilfrid Voynich, from whom the book gained its modern name. Voynich is responsible for bringing the manuscript into the eyes of the modern age. Voynich spent several years attempting to understand the book while bringing in scholars to aid him, but with no success. After Voynich's death, the book passed to his widow Ethel, then to Ethel's friend Anne Nill, then to book dealer Hans Kraus, and finally to Yale University's Rare Book Library. Almost like a curse, the book has been passed down throughout the centuries, subjected to greater and greater scrutiny. But its mysteries remain locked up tight. So what can we really know about the manuscript? Well, besides for the obvious, not very much. The author of the book is a complete mystery, although several theories exist. The oldest states that the book was created by 13th century English friar Roger Bacon, although this is almost certainly false. 15th century Italian engineer Giovanni Fontana has been considered due to records existing of Fontana's fantastical drawings. At several points, the book was thought to be a hoax perpetrated by Voynich himself or a number of 16th century cryptologists, but the age of the manuscript has since disproved these notions. The contents of the book are impossible to understand, but from what little information the drawings give, it's widely believed the manuscript is a type of medicinal text, something fairly common around the time period. Astrology was linked to medicine in the Middle Ages, so it's possible the star maps were simply another part of the pharmaceutical knowledge the book was designed to hold. However, the greatest mystery of the book has always been its indecipherable script. The mysterious characters, which have eluded translation for centuries, have at many points been believed to be anything from scientific shorthand to complete gibberish. However, more recent analyses of the order, placement, and frequency of letters and words have indicated the Voynich text to be very similar to an actual language. This has given rise to three prevailing theories. Theory number 1, the cipher theory. This states that the entire Voynich manuscript contained information the author wished to keep secret, leading them to utilize some form of cipher to disguise the true meaning. This theory is entirely plausible, and many groups, including a team of NSA cryptographers, have attempted to understand the book based on this assumption, but no progress has been made. This led investigators to consider other possibilities, such as theory number 2, the natural language theory. It has been posited that due to the complexity of the Voynich text and the relative lack of cryptographic knowledge around the time of the book's supposed creation, the text may in fact be a natural language that has since been lost to time. This theory holds some weight, but the likelihood that an entire language could vanish, only leaving traces behind in a single book, is slim. Which brings us to theory number 3, the constructed language theory. Similarly to the previous one, this theory states that the Voynich text is in fact its own language, but rather an artificially constructed one rather than a natural one. This could perfectly explain why the text seems so much like a legitimate language but has eluded translation for so long. However, constructed languages wouldn't become a widespread concept until several centuries later, meaning the author would have had to have been very far ahead of his time. Still, despite centuries of theorizing, so far no one has been able to make any major headway into deciphering the Voynich manuscript. It seems like every year another scientist, scholar, or cryptographer comes out with a new claim stating that they've cracked the code, but these are almost universally debunked as soon as they arise. Virtually everything from Hebrew alphagrams to phonetic Old Turkish to a Latin dialect written in shorthand has been suggested, but nothing truly meaningful about the book has arisen, even with modern tools and methods at our disposal. And perhaps it will stay that way, forever a mystery waiting just beyond the horizon. Maybe it was never meant to mean anything in the first place. We simply don't have enough meaningful information to draw a meaningful conclusion. We just have to keep our eyes open and hope for the best. Thanks for watching.